Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. We're going to be recording this session, so just so you know, you don't have to scribble notes frantically as we go. You'll get a recording when we're all done. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're here to talk about our professional coaching certificate program. My name's Heather Ogle. I'm the program manager, and I'm joined by a colleague of mine, Bridget, who's going to help us with questions. And then we're really excited to have Gary Taylor with us as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We're here for you today. We're here to get you the information you need to make your decision and move forward. So this is really just about the questions that you have. So throw those out as we go. And to start off, we'd like to know a little bit about you. So we're going to launch a poll and just get to know a little bit about who we have here today so that we can tailor our information specifically to who we have in-house today. So maybe you're brand new to the idea of coaching and you're just kind of exploring it. Or maybe you've had a friend who said, oh, you should be a coach. You should really get into that. Maybe you're already a coach and you're just looking for an ICF certification, which you're in a great place for that. We'll talk about that later. And we've got a whole variety here, maybe a career shift. Maybe you just want to learn some skills, some coaching skills, and use those in a current job you have. We've had plenty of HR managers come through the program, physicians, you name it. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Okay. Awesome. So I want to do meaningful work that aligns with my passion is our top answer. And that is such a great coach answer. You guys are in the right place. So welcome. And then we also have who's our runner-up, probably thinking about a career shift and looking for a certification and some formal training. So perfect. You guys are in the right place. So I'll keep that all in mind as we go through our information today. Let's keep going. A little bit about us. These are your program contacts. You can see myself there, Heather, and I may have emailed with you guys a little bit already, or maybe you've already spoken with Christy, who's our enrollment coach. She's really great at answering those frontline questions, helping with the application process, all of these sorts of things. She's going to be a really great contact. You can see her information at the top. We're also going to share her Calendly link. So that's a nice internet link that lets you schedule a meeting with her directly on her calendar. And she's just super wonderful to talk with. If you have any questions when we're done, absolutely hit her up and have a session with Christy. And then we also can see our director, Joanna Siebert, who oversees all of our programs. These are our program directors for the coaching program. So we have Carol Bennett and Michelle Payne. These are the original founders of the program. Carol was here in California and saw that there really wasn't a coaching program in California or even really in the West Coast that was highly interactive. If you wanted something interactive, you had to go to Harvard or Texas. So the only options in California were, over the phone kind of coaching programs. So she came to UC Davis and said, hey, let's make something happen. And so we're so lucky to have them with us. And then Michelle Payne is our MCC. So for those of you who are familiar with the International Coach Federation and the certifications that come with that, that's Master Certified Coach. There are only about 1% to 5% of coaches in the world make it to that level. So we're really lucky to have her with us. And let's see, let's keep going. And then we're really happy to have Gary with us today. So he is an alumni from the class of 2020 in the summer last year. So everybody here, you might be looking to do the summer this year. So he's going to have a really great perspective on what it's like to go through this program online through the summer months. Let's see, Gary, do you want to go ahead and say hi and introduce yourself? We'll turn your camera on here for you.
Thank you. Sure. Okay, there we go. Hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Heather. My name is Gary Taylor, and a little about me. I'm a retired child welfare director from Orange County, California, and I am a consultant. So I do a little work around domestic violence, core practice model in child welfare, and then I do quite a bit of coaching. And my history is so long that it would take me a very long time to tell it all. But basically, there's some of the highlights, and I am delighted to be here to share with you my experiences from the program.
Excellent. Thank you, Gary. So as we go through, if anybody has a question specifically for Gary, please use the Q&A box. Bridget's going to be watching that for us. And let us know if you have any questions for him about his particular experience or any details as we go through. We'll answer those. And then we'll also have a dedicated period at the end for Q&A as well. And again, this is your session, so throw out those questions, okay? All right, here's our agenda for today. We're gonna hit on what exactly is coaching. What are we talking about when we say coaching here at UC Davis? Our program details and philosophy, the schedule, what it's gonna be like to go to class every Friday and Saturday, those kinds of details. We'll talk about the ICF. We're affiliated with the ICF and certified by them. So what that means if you're interested in getting certified with them when you're done with the program. And then we have a couple extra benefits just to throw in at the end. So let's take a look. So this is the ICF definition of coaching. And for me, when I think about coaching, it's really the key things that come out are that partnership piece and the creative process. You're really a sounding board with your client. And you're there to help them find solutions and answers that are within themselves. And we point out in the program and go into depth on how this can be different from a consultant or a therapist, because things like a consultant may take the information that a client gives and then give a suggestion. And in coaching, when you're doing an actual session, you're really listening and trying to let the person find their own suggestion, if that makes sense, find their own answer. Therapists, it can get really confusing. Sometimes in a session, am I coaching? Is this therapy? Do I need to, send this person to a therapist and not a coach? We go over that in the program. And basically, it's nice to remember therapy is looking backwards and coaching is looking forwards. So we take somebody as they are today as a whole person. We say you are whole and we are moving forward and looking at your future goals. And then it's different from a mentor because mentors have been there, done that. They say, this is what you need to do to make it happen. And again, we're not being quite so directive as a coach. And then the same thing as a counselor, similar to therapy. If somebody needs counseling and therapy to look at the backwards, the history, that's something we might refer. Okay. So just a quick question for those here today. Have you ever had a coach? And we'll launch that. And Gary, had you had any coaching before you came to the program?
I had actually, I had a coach from UC Davis. So
really?
I actually, yes, I was the child welfare director and our organization required that we have it. So I did have coaching and provided coaching to all 30 of my management. So yes.
Excellent. Okay, let's see about everybody else with us today. What do they have to say? Okay, you guys say yes, 45% have had a coach. That's fantastic. So back in the day, years ago when we asked this question, very few people had ever been coached themselves. It was such a new idea, really. And so it just goes to show you how much more prevalent and common coaching is, which is great for somebody who wants to be a coach. And then we also have a fair amount of you who have not been coached yet, but would like it. That is perfect, because if you do the program, I'm sure Gary can attest, you receive a lot of coaching. What kind of practice do you get in the program, Gary, for the coaching?
I cannot tell you how important that is. You get regular practice, regular feedback, and the beauty of it is that you grow to be comfortable with this feedback, and you're going through this program with your peers, and so they're experiencing what you're experiencing, but you get regular feedback and a lot of practice. You're videotaped. which was new, but very good. That allows you to sit back and reflect on what you're doing. And then speaking of coaching, Heather, I still get coaching now. And I think it's important as a coach that I continue to be coached.
Mm. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, everything that Gary says about it being, a lot of practice, that's true. We are an experiential program. It is, you'll spend as much time practicing these techniques with each other, both receiving and being the coach as you do in lecture. So if not more time with the practice. So it's truly, you're learning those skills and honing those skills while you're in the program.
And very incremental, Heather, very incremental. I loved how we're just not thrown into this big pie, but very incremental. As you guys trained us on a piece of it, we got to practice each piece. So thanks. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, not at all. That's great. Yeah, it is. I remember I was lucky enough to do the program as well a few years ago, and the very first day when they're like, okay, go ahead and try this, it felt like, oh my gosh, really already? But after that, each piece was just added on top of the skill you had just become comfortable with. So yeah, I agree. It's not overwhelming, but it is exciting to add each new piece as you go. So what we're looking at here is a little bit about our philosophy of the program, what makes UC Davis different from other programs. And our program is based off the core skills or the core competencies, you may have heard, of the ICF. What this means is that you're learning skills that you can use in any coaching setting. So some people may say, oh, well, are you an executive coach, or do you teach life coaching, or do you teach health coaching? And the answer is yes. These skills are used no matter who you're speaking with. It's like the fundamentals of basketball. You need these fundamentals, and then you can go out and work in any particular genre that you like. And a lot of folks come in thinking they're going to do one genre, and then they switch while they're in the program. So Gary, did you have any experience with other team members in the program switching up their interests, or did you find your interest changed as you went through, or anything like that?
Yes, that's a very important point. Yes, my team members' interested change, and then I can certainly speak from my own experience. I came in with a very specific focus of child welfare, and that is what I continue to do and intend to do. But in the meantime, thanks to the program, I've coached a pastor from a mega church. I'm doing coaching in a domestic violence program. I'm coaching for a superintendent of a school. So the skills are, or you can use the skills in any setting. And with my 4 kids, by the way, and I try to coach my wife, which doesn't always work, but I try. So.
Yes, I feel for the family of coaches, because it's hard to turn it off. But yeah, that's a great point, and that it brings people together. Also, it's an interesting mix we end up with, because since we're not focused just on one area of coaching, like executive coaching, you get a really diverse group of people into the program, which you go through all together as a cohort, and it's a wonderful experience getting to know these people and learning from them as well as you go through. Okay, so this is the structure of the class. We have 5 different components that you're going to go through. And again, it's a cohort. So you start and you finish together. And these are all courses within the entire program. So you cannot I'll just sign up for number 1 coaching essentials this year, and I'll come back later to take number 2 or 3. You're going to start and stop all together. And again, that gets you that cohort experience. Do you have any comments on your cohort experience, Gary?
Yes, surprisingly, I was actually surprised and a bit shocked by how close we came to be as a cohort. Because again, we started together, we were all experiencing the same things at the same time. The newness, the experience of practice, being coach, being the coachee, the experience of taping, of being taped. So we became actually a very close cohort. And to your point, Michelle, I think I had one individual that was a psychologist, one that was coaching in sports medicine, a diabetes coach, wellness, spiritual. So you're exposed to these individuals who have different interests. But we very quickly, and I want to commend the instructors. I can't really pinpoint it, but I think they did a good job, right, in how they approached us and how they taught us that helped to build the cohesiveness. So, yeah, very cohesive group, yeah. And we actually periodically schedule meetings every couple of months.
That's great.
Yep.
That's fantastic. It's great to hear because it's something that has set us apart for a long time. Back when we were in person before COVID, we really attributed that connection to being in person. But having to move online for the pandemic and then continuing to be online right now, we've been really pleased to see that experience translates, and people are still forming close-knit cohorts who have groups together and masterminds later, and it's fantastic to see that.
And Heather, I think the program, I think the instructors are skilled at the way the group interaction is. Within a period of a few days, I have had the opportunity to work with pretty much all of my peers, either in a small group or one-to-one. So I think that really helped to build the esprit de corps and the team, feeling like a team and feeling like a solid cohort. So yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah, you guys did a great job with that. Thanks.
Absolutely. Excellent. Good to hear. All right, so here we are on what it's going to look like when you come to class. We're here talking about our summer program, it's 5 months. It's going to be from August through the first week of December. Basically, every other week, we'll take a look at the schedule here in a second. And if you want a copy of the detailed schedule, feel free to contact Christy and she can send you one, no problem. But in general, we're looking at Fridays and Saturdays. Both days are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then you'll have a week off, which is nice because you can practice your coaching, get your homework done, do a little bit of reading. And then the following Friday, Saturday, you would come back. And again, we're on Zoom doing the remote format, which has been really great to see that it's translated very well. We've put a lot of instructional design into the process to try and make sure that we're still getting that intricate vibe and connectedness that has been a key component of our program for so many years. So we're still online on Zoom. Okay, we have another poll here. We are online right now, but we still like to know who we're getting and how far away you are. So for the folks who are here with us today, are you local to the Sacramento area? We have people who travel from other states. One cohort, we had a pair of people from DC and they would fly out every other week. We often have people in an international student, and it used to be that they would come and live in California for 6 months to do the program, and now they're able to do it online. So let's take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and share what we have and see. Okay. Yep, live within 30-mile radius of Sacramento is our largest response, followed by the Bay Area. That has always been our largest cohort of people, but then it's really great being online. We've been able to reach Southern California, and then we have, another 6 from outside of California, two international folks, welcome, and then a few from Northern California as well. So the format has really, being online has really helped us share this experience, with folks who are farther afield than we used to. So it's really great. Right. So here's our schedule. Again, don't feel like you have to take furious notes or anything like that. We can, you're going to get this recording later. You can email us. Christy's info was on the first slide. We'll give it to you again at the end so that you can get this. you can see that it follows the format of class, 2 days of class every other week in general. You'll notice there are a couple of funny things in here called demo days. And on those weeks, you just have class on that Saturday. And you're going to spend all day coaching in front of your peers. And so it's a practicum with team response. And for some folks, it's incredibly nerve-wracking the first time. And for some folks, it's totally easy, no worries. What did you think of your demo day, Gary?
A little hesitant, a little fearful going in, but I keep going back to the staff, that they made the environment completely comfortable. I feel that I received honest feedback from my peers, honest feedback from staff. And so it was not threatening. No, it was presented in a non-threatening way. So very honest. I think the way the program set up, I felt that we wanted to see each other grow. We wanted to see each other grow and make progress. So the feedback was given in a very strength-based sort of way, right, and very beneficial. And so a little fearful, but after the first few minutes and that first time, it was good. It helped me to grow. And then we even wrote each other later in the day. We actually, besides the feedback you got in person, those individuals wrote you later. So you actually had the information to take a look and see how, where you needed to practice or grow. So yeah, we survived it.
Nice, excellent. Yeah, and it's a great day, and you're there and you feel supportive of your other peers, as they take their turn. And it's just a really great to sit and watch everybody coach, because by the time, you'll be amazed, this is only after 2 classes, but by the time you hit October 2nd, you really have some skills. And it's really fun to see your classmates see their different ways of coaching and see the different styles that start to come out of people and develop. And it's a lot of fun.
And to see your own growth in them, because you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot to do that, or I didn't think about that, or what a nice way to phrase that, or what a nice open-ended question to ask. So to see grow and observing your peers and listening to them, as well as growing from the feedback they give you. So
excellent. So we're about halfway through. I'm gonna take a pause here and Bridget, see if we have any questions on anything that we've gone over so far that we need to cover.
Yes, there's quite a few questions, some for Gary, some regarding the program. One that's came up quite a bit is how large is the cohort for this specific class?
Great question. The cohort right now is capping around 40. So this is larger than it had been in person, but it's nice because we can accommodate, just a few more people than we used to in person, and still have everybody have that intimate experience. Gary, you had a rather large cohort like that. How did you find having that number of people?
I want to say 33. It was very comfortable because, again, everyone brings a different party to the gift, as they say. Mm-hmm. And so, again, you had people, someone's doing sports medicine, someone's a psychologist, I'm doing wellness, I'm doing health, I'm doing spirituality. So it just really exposes you to, all these different thinkers, these different thought partners, and then also hearing what people intend to do, once they complete the program. So the size, it was manageable, and the way that the breakout sessions, the time we spent together, some of the one-to-one, it didn't feel, it was 33. It was very comfortable for me, very comfortable.
Excellent.
Thanks.
All right, Bridget, what else?
How does this program differ from working with ICF directly?
So ICF is a credentialing institute. So we are credentialed through ICF to have accredited coach training hours. So when you want to sit for the ICF exam, you need 150 depending on which level you want to certify at, 60 to 150 of those hours. And that's what we give. That's what we bring. And you can get those hours from any accredited training program. And so when you go to ICF, you'll see that we come up on their website as an option. And then there are some other boxes that you need to tick off in order to take that exam. And we'll get into those details here in just a couple of slides, actually. So you can rest assured that when you have your UC Davis coaching certificate and you present that to ICF, they say, okay, that means that you've had your mentor hours, you've had your training hours, you've had your, and we certify and cover a lot of the things, nearly all things that are required by ICF for your certification. So good question. We'll go a little more in depth. And if you still have a question after that, throw it out there.
Okay. One other one regarding the ICF. How long does it usually take for students who finish the program to get their ICF coaching license?
Sure. It really depends on your motivation, your timeline you've set. We've had people finish, the one thing that you don't have from the program are 100 practice hours. We get you some practice hours while you're in the program, but then you have to finish those hours after your training. And that's the common denominator, is how quickly do you do those practice hours. We've had somebody finish their practice hours a month after finishing the program. And so boom, they sit for the exam, which is going to be super easy because we teach about the exam, and they're certified. Other folks who are just doing this a little bit on the side, 1 or 2 hours a week, it can take a year. And that's totally fine because that's their timeline. So anywhere from, just a month, if you're really hitting it and practicing, getting hours outside of class while you're in the program, or longer. It's totally up to you. Gary, do you have any experience, anything to say about those?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, so thank you for saying like the 150 units, coming from the Davis program is like kind of puts you exactly where you need to be. In my case, folks, I have now have 500 hours. So even though I was ACC ready from UC Davis, I'm going to go for my PCC. And it's just a matter of me saying, I keep a log, which they'll show you in the program how to access that log to keep your hours. So I've got my hours, and I've just had some other stuff going on a bit while I'm coaching. I'm so busy coaching that I just need to sit down and fill the application, pack it out. But I'm going to bypass ACC and go for PCC level. So thank you.
Perfect. And that's a great point to bring up, is that your UC Davis certificate not only covers that ACC level, it also covers that middle level, the PCC level. You don't have to do more training or get more evidence or anything like that. You're already covered. So that's a really nice advantage. Any other questions, Bridget, that you're seeing on stuff we've already covered?
I'm sure you're going to cover some regarding the schedule and all of that. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep going and throw those out, if we're on a good slide for those, and we'll cover them. All right, so we can see here that I have a typo, but we'll see. Number one, tuition. So the cost of money is important. Cost is always a driver. Cost for this program is still incredibly, I don't want to use the word cheap, but because that's a big chunk of money. But when you compare it to other programs out there right now, we are a really good value, especially for all the things you get, which we can see here in number 2. It covers tuition, course material, your textbooks, mentor coaching, which is a really specific and important thing I'll talk about here in a second. Client pairing. So we offer you your first client. We ask the community for volunteers, say, hey, do you want to work with any of our students? You'll get free coaching. They're learning. It's a win-win. You can choose to do that, or you can opt out if you already say, oh, I have people to work with. I'm totally good. I don't need anybody extra. Or if you're like, I have no idea where to go for my first client. Yes, please. We do that. You get a pro, an executive pro level Zoom account while you're in the program, so that you can do your practice coaching sessions and get transcripts and record those and evaluate yourself. So and it also covers the application fee. So all of this is included in the tuition. The mentor coaching, I just want to mention, that's one of the requirements for ICF. And if you do it independent of our program, a lot of programs don't offer it, you'd be paying about $2,000 to somebody to be your mentor and get those mentor hours. So, but we know that that's incredibly important, and we want to make sure that we get you to that ICF certification if you're interested. We have lots of people who aren't interested in the ICF. That's also totally fine. But we thought it was important, so it's included. And then here we can see my typo. This was our early application deadline, which is March 15th. That is no longer applicable. Our new deadline is May 17th. So there's still plenty of time to work on your application and get that in. So sorry if I scared anybody with my typo there, with my old date. Here's one of our nice sort of bonuses of being in the program. We have a closed Facebook group for our alumni. So we have our alumni group, which is a really fantastic way to network, learn business tips. You know, we don't cover business methodology in the program. We're very just focused on skills. However, our alumni network is a fantastic place to ask questions and get started with your business. Find people who are interested in the same style of coaching and say, hey, where did you find your clients? And we have people come together and have monthly sort of continued learning sessions together, and they talk and, well, what about this case or that case? And so this is all something that you can participate in if you like, as an alumni of the program. And it's just specifically for the UC Davis coaches. Okay, so we're leading into our bit with the details on ICF. So we'll launch a quick poll and see where we are. I know we had some people who are specifically interested in their ICF certification from the beginning survey. But in general, how familiar are you with the ICF? We've been throwing this word around a lot. So hopefully you have recognized it or have seen it before somewhere. And if not, you're about to know more about it. All right, so that's a pretty good bunch of answers there. Let's take a look. Okay, yes, I am familiar, but not too much, and would love to learn more is a good top answer. Others say, yes, I value the credential. And then we have about 25% say, no, this is the first time I've heard of it. So let's get into it. For the folks who are brand new to these letters we keep throwing around, and for the folks who are interested, already know about it and interested in it, we'll go over how we make it happen for you. So the ICF is the International Coach Federation, and it is one of, if not the top global professional society for coaches. And we have aligned with them from the beginning as setting our learning standards and our skills off of the core competencies that they define. So we are an accredited coach training program through the ICF, and we get you 150 academic credit hours. That's another thing, we're UC Davis, we're a university. These are academic hours that actually articulate into a master's degree if you're interested in that. We get you the mentor coaching and the client pairing. And then you can see, for those who are brand new, these are the different levels of certification you can get with the ICF here at the bottom. Your first level is associate certified coach, then professional, and finally master. Associate is a place where most folks start because you only need 100 practice hours after you get these 150 coach training hours. And then, as Gary mentioned, he has his 500, which is the next level of hours. So he's gonna get his PCC here very soon. And then, as I mentioned, we have our master certified coach, Michelle Payne, and another one of our coaches, Lori Kozart, in the program is also an MCC. You need thousands and thousands of hours to reach this level. And very, very few people are at this level yet in their careers. We're lucky to have 2 of our professors be MCCs. Oh, no, go back. There we go. So how do we stack up for getting you everything you need? You can see down here at the bottom is your credential and the exam, and that's your goal. So we are the ACTP, that's a accredited coach training program. We are that. You need to complete the training. Not only do you get 60 hours, we get you 150, which is why your certificate is good for the yellow level as well. Work with a mentor coach. We take care of that. Moving forward, coach references, very easy to get. We've got lots of mentors and instructors and alumni you'll be working with, so that's covered. And then you're going to take your exam, and that's also demonstrated by your UC Davis certificate. So you're going to submit a recording to Michelle Payne, our MCC, at the very end, and she's going to listen and deliberate on that and grade you and say, yes, you are coaching at an ACC level, or yes, you are coaching at a PCC level. So your oral exam is taken care of. The only thing that's left are these coach experience or your practice hours. And you can see it's 100 hours, and then they break it down by paid versus, what's the word I'm looking for? Pro bono.
Pro bono, yes.
There we go. And so you're going to track your hours, and once you reach 100, you already have all of this by showing them your UC Davis certificate. You get those hours, you can sit for the exam. And then when you have 500 hours, all of this again is still taken care of. There's no exam. You just submit your packet. If you already have your ACC, and you're good to go. And now you have your PCC credential. These credentials are nice as, just to show and share with people the quality of your coaching. It's a quick way that people can know, okay, they've had a lot of training. They really know what they're doing. They're not somebody who just hung a shingle. And then the UC Davis certificate does a similar thing. So if you don't want to go all the way through, for the full bang on the ICF, being able to put a certified coach from UC Davis, that's still going to get you ahead in the game from somebody who just decided to start coaching because they, are good at talking to people. So, and then one last thing, the exam that you sit for the ICF, we have never had anybody fail because it's based on the core competencies. And that's what our program's based off of. So you're going to go over and over and over and really practice and hone those core competencies before you take that exam. Gary, how was it learning the core competencies for you guys in your cohort?
It was absolutely wonderful. And for me, I had been coaching prior to coming to UC Davis, and the program just helped me realize things that I had not been doing correctly. Not that I've been doing a terrible job, but those core competencies really kind of helped me to kind of realize that you're moving through different phases. There's some things you need to do in the beginning, midway, kind of planning, goal setting. And so it really just solidified that for me. And I just want to say that the credential, like having completed the program, I have like 7 new clients just saying that I've completed UC Davis. And I think by putting the fact that I am qualified to PCC to sit for certification, I was just hired by Fresno State and San Diego State. So, and the reason I actually joined the program was just to allow myself to be considered more credible. So I was doing the coaching, but in case one of these governors or the states that I work with wanted to go, well, who says? So now I can say I have the experience, but I'm also certified. So yeah, and I want to be best in class, and the program prepared me to be best in class, right? And I'm going to I have the documentation to say it. So to prove
awesome.
it.
Yes, excellent. I love that. Okay. We are nearing the end of our content, so if you have questions, go ahead and throw those out. Here is one more benefit of the program. So as I mentioned a moment ago, the hours that you receive are academic hours. So that means that this is just like a university class that you would take at the university. So we have an articulation agreement with the University of Pacific to say, okay, show us your UC Davis certificate. We will take that as transfer credit into our master's degree. This is the Master of Arts in Organizational Learning and Effectiveness. And the program itself is almost entirely online. I believe they still have a couple of sessions, residence sessions every couple months. But this is an opportunity that we have many, every single class, every single cohort, we have at least one person take advantage of this opportunity. So you're saving a lot of money on the master's degree because you're double dipping on your coaching hours. And all you have left are 7 classes and your capstone. So this is something that if you're interested in, we can get you connected with their admissions committee over there. And we have lots of people who start our coaching program and get all set up with admissions at University of Pacific so that they can start into that program kind of flawlessly once they're done with our program. They just go straight into the master's. So that's a really nice extra benefit. Here we go. Here's our real application deadline, May 17th. And then we'll have decisions back for you by June 1st. And there's still lots of time to apply. Let's see, here's what the application itself looks like. It's free to apply. There are 4 questions and just a question about your work history. Make sure to include that. That just helps us know what kind of perspective or background you may be bringing in. If you are retired or a career changer, that is a-okay. Just put retired, previously, blah, blah. Career changer, previously, whatever. And then these are questions. Again, this is recorded, and so don't feel like you have to scribble these down. The app is free, so you can go in and take a look at these, take your time. Do your best to meet that 300 to 500 word recommendation that you'll see on the application for each question. We really want to get to know your story. Give us examples, tell us how it feels to coach. We really want to get to know you. So it's less about, oh, well, I've already had this kind of training and I've already had this degree. And it's much more about what are you going to bring to the cohort and your enthusiasm, your plans, what are you going to do with this education? So that's the kind of thing that we want to know about. So Gary, did you have any issues with signing up for the program, the application process, all of that stuff?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a big shout out for because I was looking at about 6 or 7 different programs. So I was kind of wrestling, and I landed on you guys. And I will say I was a bit rushed, and I just want to applaud you for helping with my application process. I did complete the questions, but no, it was pretty seamless. Thanks to you, Heather.
I'm glad to hear it. We do our best, and we are so lucky now. We also have Christy, who is on our team, and so we have another hand to help out with these applications as you go through. So if you have any questions, you can ask her. And then here we're getting close to our last slides. Financing is always a question because money, it's a big chunk of change. So we do have a couple discounts. Everybody who's here today live is going to get a $100 discount coupon in the email. So just for joining us today. And then we also are the only program left to still offer a payment plan, and that splits the payments into 3. So if you're interested in that, again, Christy's going to be your contact, and she's here. Christy, do you want to say hi?
I would love to. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I really appreciate you tuning in and registering. And if you do have any additional questions for me that I can help you with in regards to this program, I'd love to help you. I'm going to go ahead and put my Calendly link into the chat. Feel free to set up an appointment with me to go over those questions, and I can walk you through the process of application as well. So I'll go ahead and set that in. And then if you're just looking for further details for application, I'll put in my email address as well. I can definitely provide you some information and guidance there. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Christy. That's perfect. And then I think, Bridget, you have the link for the actual application itself. So we're going to throw that in there. If you are feeling really good and ready to take a look at that application, just click the link in the chat, and that'll take you directly to the app, so you can take a look at that and start hashing out those questions. And then we have another good 10-15 minutes for questions. I see there are a lot in the Q&A. So Bridget, what do we have in our question box?
Yes, there is quite a few. A lot were, kind of the same, but we can start out. Let me see. So for those who work full time, what's the estimated time of out of class work?
It definitely depends by the week, but sometimes you're going to be doing a practice coaching session and then listening to that. So the session is an hour, and then you listen for an hour, and then you do a homework, evaluating yourself for an hour. So you could see how that could add up. Or you're reading a few chapters out of a book. So 6 hours within a week, but you have 2 whole weeks to work on assignments between classes. Gary, what was your experience with the out of class work?
Very, very manageable. I'm married, father of 4 grandkids, very manageable. Some of the practice practice would occur toward the end of the class, at the conclusion of the learning for the day. Some of the practices would occur there. And you're correct, there was some reading, some light reading outside the classroom. There were some textbooks that we had, but nothing overwhelming. And then we had, like you stated, 2 weeks in between to do that. So I never felt, I never felt like pressed or pushed, to do it. So I would say, I'm not going to say minimal. It's some, but very, very manageable.
Good. That's great. Good to hear. Good question. What else do we have?
This is a one to Gary. Gary, if you can give us your top reasons for choosing this program over all others.
Certainly, yeah. I looked at Concordia, Harvard, Brown, and so kind of thinking about that travel, and then I looked at the price point. I looked at the time commitment, and so this program, I felt like I could move through within 5 to 6 months versus 12, 14, 15 months, and then price-wise, some of the universities are different in the price. I thankfully did not need scholarship, but you could also, pay incrementally. I did not have to pay the solid fee at once. And then I had a lot of history with UC Davis because as a leader, I'd been trained through Harvard, through Yale, San Diego State, Berkeley, and I had training from UC Davis, so I knew the quality of the people on staff there and the quality of what they provided, just based on my experience been with a large organization here in Southern California. So yay Aggies, go Aggies. Thanks for asking.
Right.
What's the policy on missing a class day? Like, how many days can a student potentially miss in this cohort?
Great question. So class attendance is mandatory, and we have built in enough class time so that you could miss up to 2 days and still graduate. After that, you would need to withdraw from the program, and we'd have to talk about, trying to see if we could get you into a different cohort or something like that. You need these hours to apply to ICF, as well as for the academic integrity of the certificate. So it's really important to cross-reference your schedule with the class schedule and make sure, if oh gosh, I have, a wedding coming up over the summertime, and then we're traveling, and you're going to miss 2 days right off the bat. I would highly recommend taking a look at the next session, the winter session, something like that. We're not going anywhere, and you want to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room. If something comes up and you need to miss class. I will say when I went through the program, we were in person, and I did get sick on one day, and I had to miss one day, a full day. And to this day, I still regret it. Because, I asked my classmates, so what did we do and what was it like? But it is it's so much of in-person and in-experience, what you're getting from the instructor directly, that it just cannot be, there is no makeup. Classes are not recorded, which is a question we sometimes get, because it's confidential. We are coaching each other in class. Sometimes somebody will volunteer for a demo, and it's real coaching. People are really emoting. There are tears sometimes. It's real coaching. And so from the very get-go, you agree that on a confidentiality agreement. So these are not recorded classes. You can't make them up. So long way of saying, make it to class, be there. You're going to want to be there. You don't want to miss it. So double check against your schedule and make sure that you can be there. Gary.
Yeah, you do not want to miss it. I actually asked the very question of you and of the instructors, and I just made it a point to be there because you had talked about covering the competencies, and I knew that if I missed 8 hours, I was going to miss something really juicy, right? And I want to be best in class, and I didn't want my peers to have what I didn't have. But because either you're going to be talking to us about our biases or self-awareness or our values. And just to me, 8 hours, was just more than what I was willing to miss, even though I could be allowed to miss. And I just made it a point to, and it was a huge investment of time and money. And so I wanted to be present and not miss 1 second.
That's right. That's excellent. And it's another good point to bring up that while we are online, this is a professional level program. So, you're not only your attendance, but your attention is expected and required. So, you're going to want to make sure that the kids have a babysitter and you don't have a kid sitting in your lap, and that you can close the door behind you and that you're fully there, because it's a lot of content to get through in 20 sessions. And you're going to want to be focused, and it's a professional level program. You want to make sure you can truly be actively participating. All right, Bridget, any more questions? Still have a few minutes.
Yes. How is client pairing done? Who are the clients?
So the clients can range from UC Davis graduate students to staff. We have a lot of staff, faculty and staff who volunteer, different professional societies, and they volunteer, they fill out a form stating their interest, their topics of interest, their time availability, and they check mark and sign that they know they need to be available for up to 6 sessions. And then they're paired based on interest and schedules, both with the coaches. The coaches also fill out basically a similar form. What interests do you have on coaching, and what times are you going to be available to coach? and they match off of that. Gary, did you use a UC Davis client?
I did, and I was very fortunate. I did use a UC Davis client. We were able to have all 6 of our sessions, and it was very good skill building for me. A chance to kind of put into practice what I learned. The client came to me at a very good time, and the conclusion felt like that I really, as you talked earlier, that relationship and helping the individual to achieve their personal and professional goals. And according to the client, I did just that. So that was it was a good feeling, right? It was a good feeling.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I did. Thank you.
Excellent. And we've had people continue their relationships afterwards. They say, okay, you graduated. I want to pay you to be my coach now. I want you to keep doing that. So we've seen that multiple times as well. Okay, Bridget, keep them coming. What else do we have?
Does the VA cover the tuition of this program?
They do, yes. And if that's something you're interested in doing, get in touch with Christy ASAP. It takes a long time, to do the paperwork and go through things like that. So get in touch with us and we can facilitate that process and get that moving even before you finish your application.
Okay. What career opportunities does one have post the program other than having their own coaching practice?
There are lots of different opportunities. If you're working in leadership and management, having a coach credential definitely makes a difference. If you want to enroll with there used to be a better term for this, but sort of a coach farm, there are companies who have a whole cadre of coaches that work for them, and they will basically send you clients and you get a fee. So you don't have to go out and search for clients. They send them straight to you. There are internal coaches, so large health companies, insurance companies, Google, any large corporation these days have internal coaches who are staff. And so you can be hired, especially with an ICF certification. You can be hired within one of these companies. Carol Bennett actually manages the coaches for Sutter Health. So that's an example of one of those as well.
Okay, let me see. Is there a business development component for the brand new coach?
Good question. No, we don't have in our content, our lecture content, we don't focus on any of the business or the advertising. We only focus on skills. However, our instructors are absolutely available to talk with you about how they set up their businesses. They have they're highly successful coaches during the day when they're not teaching. So you have them as a resource, the mentors within the program. Your final day with them, you can spend talking about your business goals and what you want to do and what are your next steps, how are you going to get there. And then finally, the ICF does a nice on-demand seminar that I really like. I think it's $300, and it is specifically how to start your coaching business. I mean, it doesn't get much more defined than that. So since they have that content, I really just like to send people there and then, network and use your classmates, your instructors, your alumni network, and then that great seminar from the ICF.
Great. When you say UC Davis covers all the way through MCC level, all we need to do extra is practice hours and test after the graduation?
That's almost correct. So we cover all the way through the PCC, professional coach, that middle level. So we get you number 1 and number 2. After you have your PCC, you're going to need to do more training before you could go all the way up to the master level. But you have all the training, all of the mentor hours, everything you need to do both the first level and the second level with a UC Davis certificate. So all you need are those practice hours.
Okay, a lot of these questions were pretty much, seems like most of them were answered, pretty much all of them, just in different forms. So thank you, Heather.
All right, perfect. If you guys have any lingering questions, please feel free to contact us. Christy put her email and her calendar link in there. So absolutely follow up if you have any other questions. I want to say thank you so much for our alumni, Gary, for being with us here today. It's really great to have your perspective and share that with the students. So thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great day. Send in those applications, and if you have any questions, go ahead and send them our way. Otherwise, take care, and we will see you at the next one. Thanks.
Thanks, Heather.